Why doing everything right no longer feels safe. Doing everything right used to feel safe. Now it feels fragile. Many professionals still believe safety comes from correctness, from making responsible decisions over time, from following the expected path without major mistakes. Education, work, consistency, and restraint. That formula worked for a long time, until it quietly stopped delivering the same feeling. The day starts with routine already in motion. An alarm rings at the same hour as always. The calendar shows meetings stacked back to back. Morning happens in the kitchen without much awareness. Coffee is poured while emails are already open. The commute begins through familiar streets. Traffic moves slowly, predictably, without urgency. An office building waits with quiet certainty. You walk in knowing exactly what the day will contain. A desk, a screen, and work that feels familiar. Paperwork waits patiently for attention. Conversations repeat patterns learned years ago. Lunch is brief and functional. The afternoon passes without surprises. Late evening arrives as expected. You step outside into a quiet street. The routine completes itself without resistance. Nothing goes wrong. And yet, the sense of safety feels thinner than before. The question forms quietly during an ordinary moment. Why does this feel less secure now? You did what you were supposed to do. You avoided reckless choices. You planned ahead. You stayed disciplined. You chose stability over risk. You delayed gratification. You were patient. That patience once felt reassuring. Now it feels exposed. You notice how easily stability could be disrupted. One health issue, one job change, one unexpected shift. The margin feels smaller than it used to. The safety net looks thinner when examined closely. The fear is not dramatic. It is analytical. A quiet awareness that everything depends on continuation. Continuation of health. Continuation of income. Continuation of systems working as expected. Doing everything right once meant reducing risk. Risk was associated with mistakes, with irresponsibility, with impatience. Over time, the definition of risk changed. Risk moved from action to inaction. Stability began to carry its own exposure. Fixed routines created fixed dependencies. Fixed expenses created fixed obligations. Predictability reduced flexibility. Flexibility once provided safety. Now it feels limited. The system rewards consistency. But consistency creates rigidity. Rigidity makes adjustment harder. The world changed faster than the rules did. Costs increased quietly. Expectations expanded without notice. Time compressed without warning. The script did not adapt. You did not fail. You followed instructions designed for a different environment. This realization changes how you see responsibility. Responsibility once felt empowering. Now it feels binding. You notice how many people depend on your consistency. Family routines, work expectations, financial commitments, social roles. Each one makes sense individually. Together, they limit movement. You begin calculating risk differently, not in terms of opportunity, in terms of disruption. You avoid change not from fear, but from awareness of consequences. The cost of instability feels higher now, not emotionally, practically. Time feels less forgiving. Recovery feels slower. Starting over feels expensive. Safety no longer feels guaranteed by good behavior. You begin noticing how fragile systems really are, not in theory, in practice. You see colleagues affected by layoffs. You hear stories of sudden health issues. You watch industries shift quietly. You notice how little control anyone actually has. The rules you followed no longer protect the same way. Doing everything right did not create immunity. It created dependency on stability. Dependency increases vulnerability. The awareness settles slowly. You feel exposed without having done anything wrong. That contradiction creates tension. You trusted the process. The process changed without explanation. Money begins to feel different under this awareness. Not as freedom, as buffer, as delay, as protection against disruption. You save defensively. You spend cautiously. Every decision is filtered through time. Time to recover. Time to adapt. Time to absorb impact. Safety becomes something you manage actively, not something you assume. That management requires attention. Attention creates fatigue. Fatigue makes stability feel heavy. You realize safety now depends on constant maintenance. Maintenance never ends. That realization is unsettling. You begin to notice how often you reassure yourself. You check accounts more frequently. You review plans more carefully. You think further ahead than before, not out of ambition, out of caution. The future feels closer now, not exciting, immediate. You see fewer empty spaces ahead. The calendar fills quickly. Years compress into responsibilities. You realize safety once came from potential. Now it comes from endurance. Endurance feels different than security. It feels effortful. It feels conditional. Doing everything right did not stop working. The environment changed around it. Safety became more fragile without announcement. And no one explained when the rules shifted. You followed the script exactly. The script simply stopped protecting you.